Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight to the Auburn Park Hotel for my press conference, The Cartel. It takes place on the 21st November. I'll start off by introducing everyone, then I'll hand over to my dad. He's going to have a little word, and then we'll pass to Kevin for questions. On my far left, we've got Adrian Martin. He's the late addition to the show. He had unfortunate reasons. His debut had to be back a couple of weeks, but hopefully we'll get those sorted in time for the show, and then he'll make his debut then. Next to Adrian, we've got Jordan. I know Jordan very well. He's improved a lot since his debut where he got a draw with Scott Douglas. I've done many rounds of sparring, and I can say he's improved a lot since I beat him up a little bit. Next to Jordan, we've got Adji. He's one of the nicest guys outside the ring, but one of the meanest inside. He's one of the most exciting cruiserweights in the country. Enjoy seeing a fight, come forward, non-stop action, so you get your money's worth of Adji. Next to me also is my dad, manager and promoter. Then next to him, don't think he needs much of an introduction, Mustard Michael Pert. He had put up a lot in the last year, but he's getting his career back on track, so I'm looking forward to seeing him fight again. And next to Mustard, we've got Andrew the Goose Joycey. Very, very nice guy. I went to cycle with him a couple of months ago. You couldn't meet a nicer guy, and he's having his third fight on the show in his first 6-rounder, so I'm looking forward to seeing how he deals with the extra few rounds to see if he's got the fitness, which I do know he has. And next to Joycey, we've got Dalton Miller. He's one of the latest additions under my dad's management, so I'm looking forward to see his career turn around and then hopefully challenge for Southern Areas very soon. And next to Dalton, we've got Rod Julian, one of the best up-and-coming trainers, and he's starting to finally get some recognition, so it's good to see, and I'm sure you'll see his face on Sky Sports and Box Nation in the future as top fighters. So I'll just pass over to my dad now and he'll have a few words, and then we'll pass to Kevin for questions.
Thanks a lot for coming, and what I'd like to say is that what I'm proud to do is I represent all of the boxers on here as their managers, and I think we've got some definite future champions on here. Dalton Miller is somebody I'm very excited about. He's 31 years of age, the person that people would describe as a typical journeyman, and we're going to prove together that you can turn a journeyman into a champion. People may laugh, but Dennis Andrews did it back in the 1970s, 80s, and I'm sure Dalton Miller will do it as well. I think Dalton Miller will win the Southern Area title early part of next year, and we'll be hitting the English titles end of the year. He's got a brilliant trainer in Rod Julian, and we're going to prove that the underdog can come good. Andy Joycey turned pro late, 31. He's had 2 wins. He's moving up to 6 rounds on the show. He's a very exciting person to watch. He's committed to training. He's very, very fit, and there is no doubt that my job is to get him a title shot back end of next year. Mustard Mike is one of the best talents in the country. We're not in such a rush with Mike because he's a bit younger than everybody else, so we haven't got to move at such great speed. But the end product will be the same. He will be a champion. And it's just a case of how many titles he wins and where he wins them and how big the titles are. Adji Sharif is a definite proof that adversity can be overcome. He had the 2 fights, as we know, with the giant Lithuanian. Didn't work out for him, but he's come back with a win, and we're expecting him to show again on the 21st that he's back with a bang with Andy Edge. Then we expect Adji to step up to 6 rounds next year and into title contention by the middle part to latter part of next year. He's got an all-action style, and he's definitely improving back with Andy. What a lot of people didn't recognise is that 2 losses came when Andy unfortunately had a problem of illness with his wife, couldn't train Adji, but he's undefeated under Andy Edge, and I'm sure that's going to continue on the 21st. Jordan Joseph's only 20 years of age, but he's an exceptional talent. And I've known him and his family for many, many years. Well, I've known his family for 30 years. And I'm sure that Jordan will be, without doubt, one of the top light heavyweights in the country. He's got everything. It's just a matter of time and nurturing before he does it. I so hope Adrian Martin gets the right result from the board next week that prohibit him from fighting on the 7th. Because Adrian's a great guy, and I'm hoping to see him do great things on the 21st. But obviously Adrian will talk to you a bit more about that later on. Pass over to Kevin for questions.
Okay, boys, so Adrian, we'll come down to you first of all down the end. So obviously the questions are sent out, we get questions come in. Adrian, obviously Steve talked a little bit about it and Josh mentioned it earlier on. The first question's come in from a David Bright from the emails. It says, I see you've moved from the 7th of November to the 21st of November. Why is that?
Really, it's just to do with an ongoing inquiry with the board. They're just making sure that there's no medical reasons that I can't box with ADHD. They're just, I guess they're making sure that everyone participating is, their health is at the centre of attention and make sure that you're okay to box. And I guess I make the right decision, and they're only looking out for the boxers. So just hopefully next Wednesday I get the result that I'm after, and I can go in the ring and show how, you know, something that was a minor issue in my childhood, in my school days, isn't a factor anymore and won't hold me back anymore in life, and I can move forward with my boxing, something that I'm fully dedicated to and I'm putting my all into.
So how has that affected your preparation, Adrian? Obviously you're due to be fighting this Saturday. Obviously we knew yesterday we had to switch things. Have you had to change things? Obviously this would be the last week where you're sort of doing the last couple of hard days and then winding down. How are you having to change now you're going 2 weeks later?
I haven't really changed anything about my training camp. I've just extended it for an extra few weeks, so it's given us a bit more time to work on sharpening everything up for a bit longer. I've been ready for the last couple of weeks to fight. I'm as fit as I can be, so it's just sharpening up and keeping in the shape we're in now. So get a few more spars in as well, which would be handy. So yeah, it just hasn't really affected me. It's given me extra time, if anything.
So you talked about how you extended your camp by a couple of weeks. How many weeks have you been in camp for this fight in preparation for your first pro debut?
Oh wow, I basically started training as soon as I came back from holiday, so about 14 weeks now, but we've been at it intensely for the last maybe 8 to 10. And yeah, really in the last 8 we've been pushing it, training 5-6 days a week, 2-3 times a day, really working hard to be in the best physical shape we can be, the best mental state we can be for the debut.
All right, and a really good question is coming on Facebook from Eddie Wavish. Eddie, I hope I've pronounced that right. This is your first experience of ticket selling. How have you found it?
I've done all right with it. It's been, you know, you find out a little bit about who puts their money where their mouth is, I guess, you know. But I've managed to sell just short of 100. There's no doubt with the ongoing support I'm having from everyone that will remain on the 21st, and I just thank everyone who's been there and who's helping me on my journey.
Adrian, look, we hope you get the decision you want, and we look forward to making your debut on the 21st.
Thank you very much.
If we can go across to Jordan now, please. Hi, Jordan. Right, we got a question from, I've just signed it as MD, Jordan, so I'm not sure who that is. It's not a spicy question, so I'm not sure why I won't put their name. It just, nice and simple, who trains you?
I'm trained by Don Charles 3 times a week, and my dad, Joe Gregory, for the other 3 times a week.
Okay, so obviously you mentioned your dad do a bit of training alongside John Charles. Your dad was a former pro himself, Jordan, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. He was a pro, now he's a professional trainer as well.
How does it difference between having your father in doing your training and Don? How do they difference in training? Would you take a bit of both, or is it hard to blend the 2 styles together?
It's a good blend of styles, I think. My dad he's a lot more about brute fitness and strength, whereas Don Charles is a lot more technical, so I get the best of both worlds.
All right, how's your preparation for this fight going? Who have you been sparring, obviously, in preparation for your fight on the 21st?
We've had some good sparring, good in-house sparring, good trips for sparring. We're going to Norwich tomorrow for sparring. It's been good. Preparation's been good. I'm feeling strong. Looking forward to the 21st.
And the second question comes, a really good question for you, Jordan, actually. It was, would you say you're a different fighter now compared from your first fight? Obviously, Josh mentioned earlier on, you obviously got a draw against Scott Douglas in your first fight. So this is from Joseph Scott. It says, would you say you're a different fighter now compared to your first fight? And if so, how are you a different fighter?
No, I'm the same fighter. I'm just better now. I'm fitter now. I'm stronger now. Same person.
Is there certain things you've worked on, Jordan, from the first fight into the fight now? Obviously, since that first fight, you've looked massively impressive. You obviously got to stop his last time out. Is it the case of you've been working on certain things?
Everything. We're working on fitness, strength, boxing skill, everything.
And was the transition from the amateurs to the pro bigger than what you thought it was, or was it as you expected?
It was as I expected. I always wanted to be a pro now. I like the pro game a lot more. The transition was good, it suits me more.
And for the people watching this, what is the biggest difference for you in terms from the amateurs to the pros?
The preparation time, you know, the hype behind it, the training for it is better, I find. This is a lot more organised.
All right, Jordan, thank you very much. If you pass on to Adji for us. Adji, we had loads of questions for you. I've had to reduce it down to just the 3. We had lots come in for you. The first one is from Kamal Salim. It says, we know you're waiting for your opponent to be announced. Is it a case of staying fit before you and Andy Edge, your trainer, can devise a game plan?
Yeah, of course, you have to stay fit all the way through. Since the last boundary fought in September, so since then I've been training, I've been in camp, and like I said, these things happen. So I've got my trust in my management and Goodwin Promotions. So just waiting. Let's just got to stay fit all the way through.
I mean, obviously that can happen all the time, as you can have an opponent change. At last time we see that on the press conference earlier on about opponents changing. How difficult is that for a fighter in terms of when the opponents change? Are you the type of guy that gets worried about that, or is it just everything's the same, just carry on?
Look, at the end of the day, as long as you put 100% into your training, you ain't got no worries. At the end of the day, I don't really panic about them kind of things. Certain coaches, they do like, you know, to prepare their fighter properly, but like I said, I leave it to the coach, and as long as I know I put 100% into training, I have nothing to worry about.
Okay, and we've got another question from the same guy, Kamal. He says, how often do you train a week?
I'm training about 5 to 6 days a week, sometimes 3 times, sometimes twice. So I try to put the hard work in, I do try.
So when you train 5 or 6 times a week, do you do boxing all the time, or is it boxing one day, strength another? How do you mix it up? I mean, I don't want to give away any trade secrets, but in...
No, I do mix it up. Like, I've got my sprint work with someone else who just helps me do the sprint work. I've got strength and conditioning with Richard Jones, PT, who's based near Reading as well. And I've got Andy Edge, where I do the technical and sparring and stuff with me. And I've got Michael Spot as well, that comes down and helps me as well. So it's about 3 or 4 different things that I work on.
Okay, and you mentioned Richard. I think it was Richard that's sent the question for you. It says, you were known for being a powerful puncher in the amateurs at heavyweight. How has strength and conditioning helped you maintain the power despite me moving down to cruiserweight?
It has, the power is definitely still there. It just the way I've come down. You have to come down smartly, not just jump the weight. I brought it down slowly, gradually. My nutrition was good, training was good, and the training had to change. I had to put a lot of explosive things in there. But like I said, speed's there now as well, so the power is definitely the same.
All right, actually, thank you very much. If you can pass it on, we'll go along to Mustard, if you can. Okay, Mustard, great question. A question I'd like to know the answer to. This is from Adam Mitchell. It says, where does your saying all day long come from?
To be honest, I'm not even too sure, but every time I'm doing pads with Mickey and Arj, and 45 minutes later, they're like, how you doing? Or we're sparring, just like all day long, just carry on and get on with it. So it kind of just stopped from there, really.
Is it something you've introduced yourself, Mike, or is it someone said to you, or?
Yeah, I think I introduced it myself. And yeah, Mr. All Day Long. You can go all day long, 12 rounds, 15 rounds, like old school, it doesn't matter.
So you had a bit of time out from obviously your first fight to your second fight. Obviously now good to see you back in. For those that haven't seen the press conference last time, just explain a little bit about why you was out, and obviously now you're back on the scene.
I was away for just over a year due to medical situations. We'll go along and explain the story, but I guess we may be here a while. Just like to say I'm very blessed, because I would say the first 3 months of when I was away, I couldn't even walk. So I'm just happy to be here and competing and doing the stuff that I love to be doing with such great people.
How hard was it for you, Mike, during that time where you was obviously out injured? Obviously every fighter wants to fight. When you've got a long layoff, like a medical issue, how mentally draining was that for you?
It's very, very, very hard. It's so hard, because as much as you're happy that your stable mates are fighting and doing well, and you're going to support them, you should be there beside them fighting also. So it's hard on that basis, and and how can I put it? Not being able to walk is hard. Full stop. You know, don't know if you're gonna walk again. So, like I say, I'm just happy and blessed to be here doing what I'm doing.
From that injury, Mike, have you had to change the way you box at all, or is it back to now the old mustard Mike?
No, I have to change things slightly. I have to be a lot smarter. I can't bounce around too much, but then maybe I was bouncing around a bit too much in the first place. So.
A blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is from a Ross Hull. It says, you have Alex Bazza in your next fight from Ireland. What do you know about him and what problems do you think he could bring?
I know he's had a few fights I've watched. I didn't watch too much footage on him because I know opponents may change. But I train hard because any opponent can bring any dangers. So I just train hard and be as much as prepared as I can.
I must thank you very much. So we've got, if you could pass to Andrew for us, the goose. Andrew, first question coming up from a Dion Guwa, sorry Dion if I've pronounced that wrong. It says you're stepping up to 6 rounds in your third fight. Why is this?
Well, I started with Steve before Christmas. I went and had a meeting with him, and I signed. After my first fight, I had a lot more to prove in the second fight. So we got the weight down, and I really enjoyed the second fight and the progression. I was throwing more shots, I was more active. Steve come up right beside the ring, he said, what an improvement. And that's all I want is progression. Doing another 4-round fight, I wouldn't be happy with myself. It's not progression for me. I want to challenge myself.
Do you think you're a better fighter over 6 rounds? Do you think obviously you got more time to break down the opponent, more time to work? Do you think that plays into your...
I always give away the first round. I always get hit in the head a few much. I'm just getting my time in, getting my distance. But once I get the first round over and done with, then they're in trouble. I just get warmer, I get stronger. I'm like an engine, I'm like a piece of metal. I get energy from nowhere, and at the end of the 4 rounds, at the end of the fight, I feel like I've got a lot more to give. So I'm excited for doing a 6-rounder to see what I'm going to be like in rounds 5 and 6.
And obviously you have a physical job during the day and obviously have to train. How hard is that to get that balance, Andy, between obviously training physically during the day and then obviously do your own training to prepare for a fight?
Very hard. Luckily I've got good clients that understand that boxing comes first. I've been able to take the last 2 weeks off. This is my last 2nd week of hard training. I've been training twice a day, training smart. It's all about the rest time as well. You need to rest. When you're going to work, you're mentally drained and you're not getting the correct rest time in between sessions. So I take for the last 4 weeks, for the first two of those weeks, it's twice a day. And then what I do is I'm going to taper down the training and go to work in the evenings.
All right, and again, another good question from Phil Dime. It's come through on Twitter, and it says, what are your 2 best boxing attributes? That's a question like that.
I know some people are going to laugh. It's probably my size. I'm very short, very compact. I've got a high guard. People are going to find me tough to deal with because you've got to break that. And if you, after a couple of rounds, if you haven't broken that guard, then you're in trouble.
All right, Andy, that's brilliant. Thank you very much. If you pass the mic on to Dalton. How you doing, Dalton?
Right.
Okay, so fantastic question for you. Probably the best question I've ever seen come through. This is from a Sasha Keeple. It says, has anyone ever told you before that you look like Sanka out of Cool Runnings?
No, that's the first. I think it's the hair, isn't it?
It must be. Dalton, so obviously Steve spoke about how obviously being an away fighter for time, come back to a home fighter. What's changed, Dalton? What's made you want to...
Well, I think it's the motivation. The motivation has changed. Now I see that I can achieve something. So I'm just going out there to do the best I can and just train hard.
And Ben Ashdown, I've just kind of asked you a question for you, but Ben, it says, I see you're a home fighter now. Why is this? Is that just the reason, obviously, just motivation now, Dalton?
Yeah, motivation, yeah.
What made you decide to go on the road, as it's called, beforehand? What was the reason before it, and obviously why it's changed now?
Before I had too much doing. I was working a lot harder. I wasn't putting enough time into training, so I wasn't getting the result that I should be getting. And now I've got less to deal with, got more time on my hand to train, so it's just full front boxing now.
So you've had a completely change of setup, obviously signed with Steve Goodwin in management, you've teamed up with Rod Julian sitting to your right. It's a complete new change here. Do we expect to see a completely new Dalton Miller?
100%, 100%. I can't ask for a better team. I'm in the right place right now. Mind, body, soul.
So you're feeling good. Is there anything you've been particularly working on, Dalton? Obviously you've been out of the ring for a little while. Is there anything you've been working on particularly for this comeback to obviously announce yourself back in the ring on the 21st?
It'd be like an explosion. I'm working on so many things. You just look forward to the 21st.
Is there a famous fighter you've been modelling yourself on or taking bits from, or is there only one Dalton Miller?
There's a few. Roy Jones, Starters, and Augustus. There's a few. So I've just been picking little things and putting them together and turning it to my own.
And can you just tell us a little bit about the sparring you've had in preparation for this fight? I mean, if it's secrets, I don't mean to give any secrets, but can you tell us what you've been doing?
It's a little bit of a secret, so I'm just going to keep it there.
Golovkin or someone like that. Yeah. So how obviously Rod Julian, Rod Julian, what sort of things has he changed for you, Dalton? What sort of different fighter has he made you?
Well, for starters, I'm thinking a lot more. He's making me work a lot on my speed and work rate. My fitness has definitely improved. So yeah, all round changes really.
And if there's a bobsleigh team out there looking for a spare person, are you up for the job?
I have to give it a miss.
All right, Dalton, that's perfect. That's what we've got for you. If you could pass over to Rod for us.
The money's right.
It could be a sponsor.
Okay, Rod, I've got a question from Tony West. It says, what sets you apart from other trainers that makes you better, in your opinion, than the rest? What makes you different? Yeah, that's the wording's different. Yeah, what makes you different from the others?
I don't know, really. I believe in a lot of my fighters, and I give them sort of 110%. And when I'm with my fighters, I don't like to change them too much, and I think that's one of the main keys to being a good coach. You should be able to see their best attributes and work on that, and give them your little bits and pieces which are going to make them better, rather than change them completely. And I think having a great team around me, I'm truly blessed. I think the boys bounce off each other, which is just amazing. I mean, the gym's amazing. It's like, it's buzzing. I mean, everyone comes from all over at the moment. I mean, Mitchell Smith was up today. If it ain't him, it's Tyler Goodjohn, and if we're not there, we work. We're going to be up in Sheffield, working with Kell Brook and Dominic Ingle. I mean, I've got some really great connections. I think it's just trying to be humble and nice, and everybody seems to help you out and work together. But I think it's trying to bring the best out in a particular fighter and not change too much about them, really.
It's kind of like that as well, Rod. People wouldn't necessarily, when you become a coach and you come out to the pros, it kind of opens up, doesn't it? And everyone helps each other out, and you know, everyone needs the sparring. And it's a thing that people don't see, that you can obviously link up with, you know, trainers like you say, obviously Dominic Ingles and those sort of things. How has that improved you as a coach? How has it helped being around those guys?
Oh, for me, I mean, it's helped me unbelievably. I mean, say 3-4 years ago, I was the coach that was finding it hard to get sparring and do the extra things I need to do. But today, coaches like phone me up and literally invite me up to their places. Obviously, I've got a great team, and then when people come from the outside to our gym, they realise what a great stable I've got, and they say, these ain't average kids you've got training here. They're really school boys, and it's a pleasure just to be here training with them and sparring with them. I mean, it's great for me. I mean, obviously, with the likes of people like Dominic Ingle and up with Kell Brook, Lee Wood, as if unique. You just learn so much being around them people. I mean, it makes you a better coach, and obviously being around them coaches, you just keep soaking it up, and just let it rub off on me, really, you know.
All right, and the last question through the Goodwin Boxing Facebook page is from a Sam Benson. It says, what's been your best memory since training pro fighters?
To be fair, I think it's just progression, really. It's progression, and getting fighters coming to me more often now, and they're all happy, and seeing all my camp just buzzing and smiling, and doing what we love doing. We love this sport. You got to love this, because it will love you back. If you don't love it, then you're in trouble, you know. But like, if you live and breathe the sport, and like as a team, which we are, I mean, I'm very big on teamwork. Like we say, teamwork makes the dream work, and it does. And then it will love you back, and we love it like so much in the gym. And I think really, it's my love for boxing has even come out, and my fighters have made me love it more. And it's just a pleasure working with them, really, to be fair. And it's a great team and family. So yeah.
Well, Rod, thank you. If you could pass it back to Josh just to finish. You pass it, Josh. You just want to finish up.
Just like to thank everyone for coming tonight, and we have a great top of the bill, but both unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. That's Ryan Toms and Sonny Upton. That's an English title eliminator, so that's a great fight not to be missed. Tickets are still available via iboxingtickets.com. So if you wish to come, either go directly to the boxers or visit the website to buy from the boxers, or however you want to attend the show or how you want to buy the tickets. But thank you.
I'd just like to add, the top of the bill is going to be amazing. We've just covered the Ryan Toms and the Sonny Upton fight, and that's going to be an amazing fight. But we've also got a couple of lads on the undercard that couldn't be here today that deserve a mention. Tyrone McCulloch from Derry in Northern Ireland is coming over to make his first fights in signing with us. He was a European bronze medalist in the 2012 Games, and he was hoping to go to Rio, but he lost in a box-off with Michael Conlon in what was a contentious decision. He's forecast to be one of Ireland's next superstars, so I'm really looking forward to see him fight. And it will also mark the Goodwin debut of former Commonwealth champion John O'Donnell, who's been chasing Sam Eglinton, Frankie Gavin. He's chasing everybody around the world. He's not going very far, but hopefully he'll force himself into title contention. He's due out on the 21st and then again on the 5th of December. And soon, when he becomes mandatory next year, he'll be in the mix as well. So there's a lot of good undercard fighters that aren't here today, but the whole show is fantastic. So Josh has put it together, so well done to him.